I use this in my story. The next day, he took his brother and my aunt Amita, auntie, who is here, and they learned. And then, my mom's sister, who's not here, but my cousin Radhika is here, she learned. And really, then Gautam and I learned. And by the end of the week, the entire Indian community in Boston had learned how to meditate. And so he always brought everyone along for the ride. And I would say my cousins Priya, Kanika, Bharat, and Radhika are here. We all grew up with this amazing gift that I think it was about family because all of our parents were completely immersed in this journey. But I think for each of us individually, we probably took different things from the meditation practice. And so we were very lucky as kids that we were given this gift at a young age. So I was about 9. Priya was probably about 10. And Kanika, Bharat, Gautam were younger, 6, 5 younger. And so we really grew up with this gift. And what meditation gave for us was a way to be anchored in a lot of the craziness that we experience in life. And I feel as kids, we face a lot of tension often. It may be from our parents, it may be from our family, it may be expectations at school, it may be trying to fit in with friends or do well on sports teams. And so when you have something that helps you connect with yourself and know yourself better from all of the external stimulation, I found that for me it was a great gift. And it was something that I cherished in my life, throughout my life. I want to stress to every kid here, really importantly, because your parents have probably brought you to this event, is my parents never forced my brother and I to meditate. They never forced us. Instead, they meditated. My aunt, my uncle, our parents meditated. And as kids, we saw the transformation that was happening in our family's life. And so we were intrigued to do it. So I did not meditate every single day. I still don't meditate every single day. I've been a pretty irregular meditator in my life. But because my parents were meditating, it was something that I wanted to do to be connected to my mom. My dad was really around, and then we kind of went on this journey with him together. And so it was a really beautiful journey for us as a family, but there was also the individual practice that was really inspired by their practice. So we're going to go through some of the tips in this book. And it's really simple. One of the thing I'm hearing the most from people, adults, is actually that they think it's a really simple book on meditation because it doesn't have too much of the mathematical equations and the stuff on consciousness and all that, but it's really just about the practice. And what I wanted to do, since I discovered this at such a young age, is actually write something that was for kids. So that it's not like someone else teaching you and guiding you, which is important. And I know so many of you are doing this in schools and in different forums now. And I want to call out Linda Lantieri and Lisa Miller and a bunch of my classmates from Teachers College who are all, doing the work to bring this into schools. But, this is for kids to discover on your own. So with that, do you have anything else you want to say on family? I think about family and why it's important for family and kids to meditate. I'll pressure him a little.
No. You go ahead.
Okay. So we thought that what we could do is, the book is structured in 4 parts, which is meditation, mindfulness, movement, and more. And the more is really about asking questions and insight and motivation. So in writing this book, I wanted to just give the basics. So I learned mantra-based meditation, transcendental meditation back when we were young. And so we can talk about mantras and a mantra-based meditation, but it really just begins with breath. So do you want to first just talk about what meditation is?
Sure. So meditation, the way we practice it, comes from wisdom traditions, and right now I think everyone is very much familiar with the word mindfulness. It's become part of our culture. And it's going to schools. Mallika is involved with that, teaches college, and Lisa Miller teaches at the Columbia University a course in spiritual psychology. So it's become big. And how many of you have done Oprah meditations? I'm sure some of you have done those. So I just want to say a few words. Meditation is a rich tradition, not only in the East, but also in the West. Okay, so I'm sure you're familiar with centering prayer as a form of Christian meditation, very popular with Benedictine monks. But here's the difference between traditional mantra-based meditation, which is a progressive quietening of the mind till you go into what wisdom traditions call pure consciousness, which is your fundamental nature before your conditioned mind. When a baby is born, the baby doesn't have any concepts like this is a table, or this is a microphone, or this is a body, or there's a universe. All the baby is experiencing is sound, touch, sight, taste, smell. And then the rest is conditioning of the mind. This is a body, this is the world, etc. So meditation is how to go past the mind. Okay, whether it's through the mantra or through focused awareness of any sensory experience. Mantra is internal sound. Okay, so meditation takes you to the source of thought. Now, what's the difference between this and mindfulness? Mindfulness is actually an inaccurate word because, you know, when you hear the word mindful, it means the mind is full. But mindfulness awareness, mindful awareness is to be aware of any experience in what we call now. So if you are totally aware of this experience right now, and I can take them through an exercise right to the end, but if you're totally aware of this experience right now without labeling it, okay, if you don't label this sound as Deepak's voice, or this shape and this color as a table, but just observe it without labeling it, then you realize slowly that the awareness of a thought is not a thought. The awareness of any experience is not an experience. And I'll take you through this at the end for the adults, and maybe the kids can join it. So there's mindfulness of sensory experience, sound, touch, sight, taste, smell, mindfulness of body, mindfulness. If you're a yogi, you learn how to be mindful of what's happening inside your body, mindfulness of mental space, mindfulness of the web of relationship, mindfulness of ecosystem, and ultimately awareness of awareness. So we'll do that in the end. But basically, just remember, mindfulness and meditation are not about the mind. It's about going beyond the mind to the source of the mind. Is that good enough?
Yeah. So I think for the kids, the way that I define the difference in the book is that meditation is about quieting your mind, and in that, you know, you find connection to what's beyond the mind. Mindfulness is being aware of your thoughts, your body, and what's going on around your environment. Movement, and this is why it's a big part of this book, is because I know for kids sometimes it's hard to sit still. And so it may, yoga, some of you may be doing that in your classes as well, but movement.
How many people are doing yoga in this room? Okay.
And so, and I think some so it's hard to always be still. So sometimes through movement, we can also be aware of what's happening with our bodies. So we have in the book some movement exercises that incorporate yoga, but even things like just mindful walking, taking 10 steps and being aware of what's happening in your body, how your mind settles down, or taking a quiet walk. So just walking, say, from your kitchen to your bedroom, and being mindful or aware of your breathing and what's going on around you. And sometimes that same walk can feel very differently. So these are really simple things for kids. So movement is about being aware of your body and letting stress out of your body. And then we will talk more about the motivational aspect. So maybe just for the kids, because we will do a meditation together that incorporates stuff, I wanted to just share some of the basic exercises, which really begins with just breathing. And that's the title of the book. And sometimes when we're stressed, our body and mind react by our heart beating faster, our hands getting sweaty. I'm sure many of you have experienced this. So it may be on your first day of school, you have butterflies before you go to a new class or try out for a new team. You may kind of feel stressful in school sometimes when your friends are doing something and you feel left out. And so really the most basic exercise is to just take a deep breath. So I'd like to do that right now, and it's just really simple. As you're sitting, just take a deep breath in, maybe count in your head to 3. So in, 1, 2, 3, pause, and now breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so we can begin with just a deep breath. And it is pretty amazing that when you do take a deep breath, your body actually shifts from often being in a reactive situation to just being more reflective and responsive to a situation. So there's one exercise that I think for kids is really easy. It's stop. So it's the letters S-T-O-P. So if you're ever feeling stressed and anxious, just stop. S is for stop. T is for take a deep breath. So let's do that again. Breathe in, pause, and breathe out. O is observe your body. So right now, as you're sitting there and breathing, just be aware of your body. Take a quick body scan. Maybe you want to start in your feet and then just start moving up and see is there any tension in your body. And if you're feeling any tension in your body, just take another breath in and out. And think of that tension leaving. And P is for proceed. So that's a really, really simple exercise that kids can do. Of course, adults can do. Maybe you want to take 3 breaths instead of just taking 1 breath. But really just breathing helps you pause. And I don't know, do you want to talk a little bit about breath specifically?
Sure. So in every spiritual tradition, you hear about the breath as a reference to that which spiritual traditions call spirit. Right? Spirit. So breath is the movement of spirit or consciousness, and it is the interface between consciousness and biology. So consciousness is where experience happens, and biology is what records the experience, okay? Any experience is metabolized in the body when you stop and breathe. So if you read the Bible, in the Old Testament, the Lord God made man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and so man became a living soul. The soul is actually what is, if you believe in the soul as your core being, your consciousness, we can get there at the end, then that is incarnating this moment as your breath. Your soul is incarnating, and it'll stay, your soul will stay incarnated till your last breath. Okay, at that moment, then the soul doesn't go anywhere, the body goes away, but the soul remains because the soul is not in time. So breath is the movement of consciousness that creates the experience of time. And when you observe your breath, you realize you're not the breath, you're the observer of the breath. It's a clue. When you observe the breath and you realize that breath is spontaneous, even though we say just breathe, you're breathing already. You have to just be aware of it. And then you realize that I'm not the breath, I'm the observer of the breath. And the breath is a sensation I'm having, which is arising, is experienced, and then subsides. But that's every experience. Like this experience you're hearing right now, you're listening to sounds that are arising, are experienced, and then they disappear. If you listen to your body, same thing. Sensations are arising, you experience them, then they disappear. Everything that we experience is an arising and a subsiding, except the observer of the experience. So when you start to observe breath, you start to suddenly become aware. I'm not my breath, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my body, I'm not these sensations, I'm not these perceptions, I'm the observer. And the observer is the timeless factor in every time-bound experience. Our body is in time, our mind is in time, our experiences are in time, but that which we are, the observer, is not in time. It's eternal, it's timeless. It's not subject to birth and death.
All right, so let's do some breath exercises. So this is one that I would recommend sometimes do, and I know there are some kids here, so I don't know if you want to share anything, but if you do, please just raise your hand at any time. So this is an exercise that is for cooling down. It's using breath to cool down. So this you can use in situations when maybe you are getting angry and you feel that your body's heating up. Sometimes it may be good to use when you're embarrassed, and again, you feel like your skin, sometimes you can feel like it's getting red and hot. And so we're going to practice this really simple exercise for cooling down. And once you know how to do it, you can do it in different situations. People don't even need to know that you're doing it, but it helps you to cool down, okay? So it's a little bit silly looking. What we're going to do is we're going to curl our tongue. So some people can't curl their tongue. So I did this exercise with Michael Strahan on Good Morning America with a bunch of kids, and he couldn't curl his tongue. So it was really funny, actually, as he was trying to curl his tongue. So for those that can't, you can keep your tongue flat, but I'll demonstrate it. So you put your tongue out, and you curl it like this. So like you're going to like kind of make it a straw. Okay? And what we're going to do, I'll explain it first, is we're going to breathe in like we breathe, sip out of a straw. So you're going to breathe in air in, then you're going to pause, close your mouth, and blow out through your nose. So what you'll do is you'll feel cool air coming in, you hold it, and then you blow the warm air out, okay? So let's do this together. Everyone curl your tongue, and now breathe in, take a deep breath in, close your mouth, and breathe out through your nose. And what you may feel is it's cool air coming in and warm air coming out. So do it again. Curl your tongue. Breathe in, close your mouth, and breathe out through your nose. So if you're in an embarrassing situation, it may be more embarrassing if you suddenly open up your mouth, curl your tongue, and breathe in. So what I suggest is you practice this exercise, and then when you need it, you can do it with your mouth kind of slightly open, and just try to breathe in, close your mouth, and breathe out. And you can even do this before you enter a situation where you think that you may get stressed. So again, it's a funny looking, simple exercise, but it actually has a lot of benefit to cool down your body. And I want to do another exercise with you. We're going to do a few breathing exercises just to make this really practical because we can understand the big picture. But I think for kids, these are things that we can do. So sometimes when we're stressed, our mind, I don't know if you feel this, but I feel this sometimes, is my mind just feels like it's buzzing. It has lots of thoughts. I get confused. Sometimes I just feel dazed out when I'm in a stressful situation. And I know when I wrote this book, I sat with my kids, my nephew, my nieces are here who are really good at a lot of these techniques, and so they shared a lot of ideas with me. But what this is an exercise to do when you're stressed. Again, just using breath. So it's called the bumblebee breath. And again, I'm going to explain it, and then we can do it together. So in this one, what we do is we'll put our hands on the flaps of our ears. And let me explain it first, because if you press down right now, you won't be able to hear me. So what we're going to do is we'll take a breath in, put the flaps of our ears down, and then as we're breathing out, I want you to breathe out like a bumblebee. So make a sound like, all right? And what this does is, again, it just helps to take that buzzing from inside of our head and our bodies and just release it using breath. All right? Are you guys willing to try it? Okay. So we're going to breathe in, put your flaps down, and now buzz out. And that kind of creates a vibration, too, of letting that out. So let's do it 2 more times, okay? So take a deep breath in, put your ear flap down, and now breathe out. And breathe. Oh, sorry. And I couldn't hear. And now breathe in and out. So this is, again, is a really simple exercise that anyone can do, but it's just using breath to kind of release that tension and buzzing that's inside of us. All right, so let's try one more, and then maybe we can move on to yoga. So for this one, it's, again, really simple. It's just kind of using a visualization to let out stress from our body. And so what I recommend, again, for kids and adults is just choose any exercises from the book and keep trying different things, because different things work for different people. And so, this is kind of like offers you a menu of ideas that you can keep trying, try different things, maybe you like the same thing. So for this one, it's really just in those situations when you feel nervous and you feel like you have butterflies in your stomach or butterflies in your body. And it's really just breathing those butterflies out. So I'll explain it again. Again, super simple. We're going to just take a deep breath. And as you're breathing in, I want you to imagine all of that nervous energy that's inside as colorful butterflies. They may be purple and blue and pink or polka dotted or striped or rainbow colored, but just as you breathe in, imagine all of that energy inside of you as colorful butterflies. And then we're just going to take a really concentrated breath out to blow all those butterflies that are inside of us out of our bodies, okay? So take a deep breath in. Imagine all of those crazy, colorful butterflies, and now just blow them out. And again, breathe in. Imagine the butterflies and blow them out. Just envision them flying and going crazy as you blow them out. Again, it's not complicated. It's a really simple exercise, and kids can do it. And I also hope that one of the things that some of you kids may do here is share this with your friends. Just simple exercises when they're kind of getting nervous or anxious or stressed. Hopefully you will have some tips to share with friends on how they also can settle down from some stressful situations, okay? So now we will move on because we wanted to kind of do a meditation too, but I wanted to do one more thing, which is just talk a little bit about movement, because I know, and I can see even here, for lots of kids, it's hard to sit still. And so meditation and these exercises don't have to be about just being absolutely still. Really, movement, whether it's walking or being aware of what you're doing or doing basic exercises, movement exercises can help bring focus and attention, balance, but also release stress. So do you want to just quickly talk about yoga?
And pranayam. So what Mallika was basically introducing you to is pranayam. There are over 108 of these techniques in the Vedic yogic literature. So you can use breath to calm down, to energize yourself, to run a marathon. You can run a marathon while doing pranayam, by the way, and you'll increase your endurance. I've taught Olympic marathon runners pranayam, and they run for miles and miles without getting short of breath or without their heart rate going up. So there is a breathing exercise for just about anything that you want to achieve in your body-mind system, whether you want to cool down, energize, or increase your body temperature, on and on, increase your heart rate, increase endurance, stamina, etc. Then yoga, as you know, if you practice yoga, the physical yoga that we do, the word is yoga asana. Asana is the Sanskrit word for awareness, seat of awareness. Asana is a seat of awareness. Okay, so yoga asana means different seats of awareness. When you do your yoga practice, 30, 40 postures, there are different seats of awareness, and they stimulate different nerves in your body. The most important nerve in your body for healing is called the vagus nerve. It runs from your brain, and it influences the tone of your voice, which if you're stressed, your voice will be stressed. You can tell on the phone if somebody is stressed or not. Your facial expression will be altered, your eyes will be altered, but your heart rate will change. And so the vagus nerve actually influences everything from facial expression to eye movements, friendly, not friendly, heart rate variability, which tells us about the stress. But most important, it goes down through the diaphragm, and then it innervates all the organs in our body, all the hollow organs and then all the solid organs. So yoga is a way of selectively stimulating different visceral nerves. Visceral means those that go to the organs in the body, and causing self-regulation, decreasing what we call inflammation, which is the common factor in every disease. Through yoga practice, through these postures, you learn to selectively heal the organs in your body. And that's one purpose of yoga. The other purpose of yoga and breathing is to complement meditation and take you back to the source of thought.
Okay, so let's do, this is a yoga exercise I like to do with kids because it incorporates a lot of different things. So I'm going to ask everyone to stand up. And I myself am not great at this, so you may want a little bit of space because I'm going to ask you to lift your legs. So the reason I like this one for anyone, but even for kids, and we have many yoga postures in the book, and I know people learn them at school and otherwise, but I like to do this one because it incorporates balance. And so what it does is it kind of incorporates the breathing, the being still, the concentration and moving, and also is a little bit silly because we have to balance, okay? So what we're going to do first is just stand up tall and really just what is called mountain pose. And yeah, you can do that. See? And what I love is because I'm doing these events with kids, and if any of the kids are comfortable to come up front and demonstrate, I invite you to. If you want to come, do you want to come up? You don't have to be shy, only if you're comfortable. But what I love when I'm doing this is I'm seeing so many kids who are actually teaching me about yoga poses and other things that they've learned. So no pressure, please. You can stand where you are. Thank you. Anyone who wants to come. So what we're going to do, yeah, you want to come? You can stand here, you can stand there, wherever you want. So we're going to take a deep breath and stand like a mountain. And so imagine yourself as a mountain, because when you are a mountain, you're really tall, you're strong, the wind blows around you, the clouds go above you or beneath you, but you are a mountain that's strong and tall. So we're first just going to stand and be like a mountain and take a deep breath in and out. And then if you want to take more breaths, let's take 3 breaths just standing tall like this. And I'm going to be quiet so that we can just breathe in and out. And another breath in and out. And last one, in and out. So the exercise that I want to do now is something that's called tree pose. So has anyone heard of tree pose? Yes? So what we're going to do, and again, if any of the kids want to help demonstrate, because I wobble a lot, we're going to just stand up straight and we're going to lift our 1 foot, so you guys may need to create some space. Lift 1 foot as high as you can. So some people can put it up really high, some like around their knee. I can really only do it like this. And so what I want you to do, and if it's helpful to put your hands together or by the side, but what we're going to do is just try to balance. So, and this is why it's fun, because it's kind of hard to balance. But when we balance, we got to focus on our breath. Look at her. Look at you guys. We have to focus on our breath and balance, and maybe for 1 moment we can find stillness. So now you can put that 1 foot down, whatever you lifted, and now take the other foot and lift that one. And again, try to find that place, I'm better on this side than that side, that you can balance and be either wobbly, and maybe take a deep breath and find stillness. And then you can put it down. And then we'll just end with standing like a mountain again and taking a deep breath in and out. All right, so again, simple, doesn't take long, but hopefully helps you any time of the day when you're feeling a little bit crazy. You can stand like a mountain, find strength, find some balance, and then move on. Okay? Thank you. So you can sit again. Thank you, guys, and everyone who demonstrated. So the last thing that I just want to talk about, and then we can do I think a short meditation so that there's, because I know kids get antsy. So the last thing that I want to talk about is in the book, it's the and more. And one thing that I like to stress, because meditation and mindfulness and yoga have become so trendy, and which is fantastic, and I really credit my father with beginning, 30, 40 years ago, this conversation about the mind-body connection. And now we all know that there are yoga studios, whether it's in Manhattan or Santa Monica, where I live, like about 3 studios every block. And so, it's really amazing to see what has happened, with the mainstreaming of this. But one of the things that I want to stress is that meditation is not just about stress reduction. So, the ancient sages and teachers who really did these practices, it's kind of corny, but they weren't meditating in caves to deal with stress reduction. They were really meditating to think about who am I, what do I want, how can we serve on this planet. And so as kids, that was something that was really important that my parents, my aunt and uncle taught us all, which was about thinking about intention, thinking about who we were and how we could serve. And I think that really benefited us. We had a practice that, my cousins and I used to do, which was repeat a phrase that goes like this. I am responsible for what I see. I choose the feelings I experience and set the goals I will achieve. And everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for and receive as I have asked. And so my dad would ask my brother and I, what do you ask for? And I'm sure a lot of the kids can relate to this. We would ask for new clothes, new computer games, a trip to Hawaii. There were so many things that we obviously wanted. And my parents would say, okay, we'll work on that stuff, but what about asking for love? Or connection, or happiness, and joy, and inspiration. And so we were taught on a daily basis to ask for what we called the intentions that we wanted in our life. Who did we want to become? What did we want to experience in our life? How could we serve our families or our communities? And so as kids, we were taught to think about that. And so really the whole end of the book is about different practices. My brother and I were the guinea pigs for everything my dad, my aunt and uncle, and others wanted to do. And so not only did we learn meditation, but we also had different things. So my dad once tried to hypnotize me to get rid of my addiction to chocolate and made me envision frogs with chocolate on them and eating, and it obviously didn't work because I'm still addicted to chocolate, as all of my college friends who are here know. And other things, which we talk about in the book, is how do we think? So he'd make my brother and I play a game. It was called the 3 C's, and it was for about an hour to not criticize, condemn, or complain. So condemn means, talking badly about someone. And so he'd say, okay, let's spend an hour thinking about our thoughts. Now, of course, I had an annoying little brother, so my brother would constantly be poking me or trying to get me to complain about something or criticize someone. He'd ask me questions about people, and we had this game that we would do for an hour just to see how our thoughts reflected our experience. And so I would recommend kids to ask your parents for the rest of the day not to criticize, condemn, or complain. So put the challenge on them and see how they do at something like that, okay? So that's another thing that we talk about in the book. And then also a gratitude practice. So, and my little niece is here, but she's someone who has taught me with her mom that they do a gratitude practice regularly at home. And what we do is when we think about what we're grateful for, we really shift again that kind of feeling like maybe I'm alone or I'm stressed or I'm upset about something. If we can think about what we're grateful for at the end of every day, it really just helps us think about our lives a little differently. So I want to thank Mira for that. So maybe we can do a short meditation now. Do you want to do that? But short. Yeah.
Why don't you do that, and then I'll show a technique which is shorter than short.
Okay, perfect. And then if anyone wants to ask questions afterwards, we can do that. So we're going to do, guys, and because I know the kids are getting restless, we're going to do a really short meditation. And this is one that you can do anytime, anywhere, and it's using a word. So the word I am. So think of the letter I and then AM. And this is a meditation that uses basically a word or a sound to just settle our mind. And I'm going to keep it really short for you guys, okay? So we're going to, in our heads, I'll explain it first. In our heads, we're going to say the words I am. I am. Now, this is what's going to happen. You're going to say I am 3 times, 5 times, and then you're going to be like, I should have gone to the bathroom before I sat down, or I'm really hungry, or how long is this going to go on for? It's really painful. And whenever your mind wanders, which it will and is completely normal and natural, I want you just to think the words I am again, okay? And I promise we're going to do it just for about a minute, okay? But I want to just give you a really practical tool that you can use anywhere and anytime. Now, after we do that quiet time, and you just do it in your head, not out loud, I am going to ask a few questions, okay? And in your head, I want you to answer the questions. And we'll do that really quickly, too. But I just want you to not think about what I'm supposed to be or how I'm supposed to answer. I just want you to feel the answer, okay? And then we'll just open our eyes and let go. So at most, it will take 2 minutes, okay? So sit comfortably, and this is the key thing when you do a meditation, is be comfortable. Because if you're not comfortable, the whole time you're going to be thinking, I'm really uncomfortable, okay? So sit comfortably. You may want to lie down. You may want to sit on the floor. You may want to sit in a chair. And just close your eyes. And we'll begin with just that same deep breath in and out. And now in your head, I want you to just repeat the words, I am. I am. And if you get distracted, if you feel like you have to move, if you think other thoughts, that's fine. But whenever you notice your attention's drifted away, just come back to I am. And we're just going to sit for a few seconds doing this. And now, with your eyes closed, take a deep breath in and out. And I'm going to ask you 4 questions. And like I said, just feel the answers. Don't feel like I need to answer this. Who am I? What do I want? How can I serve? So maybe how can I serve my family? How can I serve my world? And what am I grateful for today? And now you can take a deep breath in and out and open your eyes. So again, that's super simple. It may be harder for kids to do the quiet I am meditation than doing some of the other breathing exercises. But you know what? Maybe for 1 minute a day, 2 minutes a day, you can start trying that. And again, I would encourage your parents to do it for 10, 15 minutes, maybe once a day, and see if they can keep up with that challenge, okay? So with that, do you want to close with something?
It's obvious that Mallika has been, since the age of 9, reflecting on all these, and now she's become an expert. So all you kids, you take this and take it to the next level, okay? Because the future depends on you, all of you who are sitting. I'm not talking to the adults, but all the kids here. You're the future of our civilization. I'll end with one very simple exercise, and without introducing it, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm telling you the answer in advance. The answer is yes. Okay, so as soon as I ask you this question, just respond by saying yes. Agreed? Yes. Okay. So the question is, are you aware right now? Yes. I like that. Once more, are you aware right now? Yes. Okay, now I'm going to ask you the same question, but don't answer it till I raise my hand, okay? Everybody understood that? Same question, same answer, but don't answer it till I raise my hand, okay? Are you aware right now?
Yes.
Are you aware? The question is a thought. The answer is a thought. You're not your thoughts. You are the awareness, the soul, the consciousness, the being that experiences thoughts coming and going. And you're also the same being experiencing perceptions coming and going, sensations. Everything we experience in the world can be summarized in an acronym: sensations, images, feelings, thoughts. That's all you experience. The rest is a story. The rest is, oh, that's a rainbow, that's a cloud, that's a star, this is a hand, this is a body, that's a mind. All you experience is sensations, images, feelings, thoughts. The rest is a human story that we create for our lives, which is very important, the story as well. But you can't create the story till you're in touch with yourself. So I'm going to ask you the same question. Are you aware? This time, don't answer it. Just slip into awareness. Just be aware of that which is having this experience. So don't try to answer the question. Are you aware? This still presence is who we are. And this presence is not in time. All experience is happening in time, but the presence. So whatever you want to call this, presence, source, soul, consciousness, awareness, God, divine, it's in you. You can stop any time during the day and ask yourself, am I aware? Slip into this space. That's it.
So I want to thank everyone again for coming. I especially want to thank the kids that are here, because I know it's really hard to sit and listen. And I do appreciate that you guys are here. And I only want to ask the kids first. Do any of you have any questions? All right. And yes, you have a question.
Come here.
I'll give you something.
Sometimes when I get like scared or I have to do something like go somewhere or do something that I'm scared of, I try to do these strategies, but then I forget or I don't remember, or it's hard for me to actually then do them. And I don't really know how, if there's like a tip or a trick of some way to like just stop and do it, because I'm in the moment and then I can't help myself.
How old are you? She's 9. So that is like the perfect question, and I can see my friends are like, oh, this is why I love that I wrote this book, because it's really the kids articulate everything in the best way and the most simple way. So when we get stressed or we get scared, our body naturally either freezes, so we can't think, or we're like, I want to run away, and so our body gets stressed out, and we just get scared, right? So it's actually called the flight or fight response. So we actually want to kind of run away, we freeze, or we want to kind of respond to something right away. And so what happens is exactly what you explained. I don't even know how to react. Even though I've learned all these lessons, in that moment, it's hard to think of what to do. So the key is to practice. So some of the exercises that we tried today, it's actually to practice them when you're not totally stressed out and scared. But try to, every morning when you wake up, or maybe on the way to the bus, or at a time in the day, just practice taking a deep breath. Maybe practice that stop exercise. So even when you're happily doing something or doing your homework or about to do something, do that exercise where I stop, take a breath, observe what's happening on my body, and then proceed. And what happens is if you start practicing those, like when you're totally fine, then when you're in a situation that you're more stressed, your body becomes more used to reacting and using the exercises. So, of course, if you can remember, it's great when you're stressed, but usually our body doesn't let us remember. And so the more that we practice, the easier it gets. But thank you for that question. Any other kids with questions? Okay, so I'm sorry, adults, but I'm going to end it here because I do think the kids are getting restless. But I am here. I'm doing a book signing, and I would love to answer any questions that are here. And again, I just want to thank my dad for being also as patient as the kids to do all of this with me today. So thank you.